Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
You can put it on the board! Yes! Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait to taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever had as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in and watching on television. Everybody on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, Walt Cable TV, and Hotel TV. Thanks for watching us, even our friends on Facebook as well. Also, everybody on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, plus independents on radio, literally in all markets across America. Thanks for joining us here on the Sports Circus. Back here with a blast from the past, we have our esteemed, very close friend, and my little brother. I can say that because he is shorter than me, and that would be two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, Tyrone Poole. Tyrone, welcome back. It's been quite a long time, young man. What's been going on?
Been a long time, Sal. It's been a long time. Hello to all of the sports fanatics out there watching the circus. Got your popcorn, you got your cotton candy, and what's the other candy, not candy, but the powder they put on the, like, donut.
You talking the powdered sugar?
Yeah, the powdered sugar. They put the powdered sugar on it when you go to the circus. What is that called?
That would be, I believe, powdered sugar.
I
don't know. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, either way, it has a name, but either way, I'm back. So everybody got their sugar ready, and yes, Sal may be the bigger brother, but I'm the faster of the two of us.
That you are. So. You're certainly the faster of the two, and honestly, you've probably always been the faster of the two anyway. That's okay.
Funnel cake. That's what it's called. The funnel cake.
Oh, well, that's the funnel cake, not the powder on top of it.
Oh, they do put the powder on top of the funnel cake.
Yeah, but you were talking about the powder on it, not the funnel cake itself.
Well, I said, what is the name? I called it a donut. I said the donut, they put the powder on the sugar. And you said sugar?
Yeah.
It's the funnel cake. So go get your funnel cake, everybody. Go get your popcorn. Go get your Slurpee with the long loop-de-loop straw. Sit back and watch us talk about a little sports here on Sports Circus.
The Slurpee. Now, they have the super tanker Slurpee, right? Not just the regular Slurpee. Then you've got like the big gulp Slurpee. Then you have the super tanker one on top of it. Right? So they're getting bigger and bigger. Eventually there's going to be a gallon big gulp Slurpee.
And speaking of the big gulp, have you ever had a brain freeze?
Oh, yeah.
Brain freeze?
Oh, yeah.
What is that actually? Now, I've had one. And I'm like, what does it actually do? What is that? What happens? Now, I know when you're drinking something cold and you drink too much of it, it's like people say, oh, I got a brain freeze. It's like, yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I'm going to look it up since you're asking me the question, because I really don't know what causes a brain freeze.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's similar to a brain fart.
Here, it says brain freeze headache. All right. It says, all right, we're going to start humming the theme of Jeopardy. When your body senses sudden extreme cold in the mouth or throat, it tries to react and warm up. Blood vessels throughout the head expand to let extra blood into the area for warmth. That causes quick change in blood vessel size, thus causing the brain freeze.
There you go. See, not only do you get sports here, but you get a little bit of medical on the side as well. So giving Holiday Inn a plug, and hopefully they'll give something back to the Sports Circus. You know, we're not doctors, but we did stay at a Holiday Inn.
Right. Or, we did. It's kind of like saying, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, right? Remember those commercials?
Yeah.
Well, an interesting thing now to get rid of that brain freeze, there's a little bit of feedback in here. Trying to figure out where that's coming from. But the way to get rid of the brain freeze is how? You actually scrape your tongue on your upper teeth. You scrape it back and forth, and it actually makes the brain freeze go away. That's not the wrong answer. That's the right answer.
Yeah, I think that's the wrong answer. Really?
That is. It is. Believe it. I don't know. That's what they say, and I've tried it, and it actually works. How do you like that?
I wonder what would happen if you get a brain freeze and then you try to stand up too quickly. You think you would lose your balance, or you just...
I don't know. You could try it.
I know, right? But not. Not.
Wrong! I don't know. Either way, but it seems reasonable that, yes, it does work if you scrape your tongue against your teeth. And so far, we've gone 7 minutes into this. We haven't mentioned a lick of sports yet. The cool thing about it is we don't even have to, because we could carry on. We did a whole show on ice cream one time. You remember that one?
Yeah, ice cream. And, there are athletes that do some strange things as well. I remember they said Darryl Green, the great legend, Hall of Famer with the Washington back in the day. I guess I can still say it back in the day, because he did play with the Washington Redskins. But in today's time, they are the Washington Commanders. But Darryl Green, believe it or not, used to have Rolos,
yes.
Tootsie Roll Pops. Yeah,
yes.
Tootsie Roll, a big roll of Tootsie Roll stuffed in his socks, man. I'm like, at what point, Darryl, do you have time to eat Tootsie Roll?
Well, an interesting thing is, Washington going, I don't know. I mean, probably in between plays, or maybe a TV timeout or something like that. I can't imagine when else they could do it.
Yeah, we need to get Darryl on here and maybe ask him that question, man.
Well, it's funny. You mentioned Washington, the old Redskins. So the next name of the Washington NFL franchise has been circulated around since we're on it. Somebody sent me this. Of course, there are odds. Of course, I'm in Las Vegas. And what do? We talk about odds, right? Whether it's the Formula One race, right? Everybody can see this behind me. Everybody watching on TV. If you can't, well, go turn your TV on or watch it on Facebook under Sports Circus. You'll find it. Anyway, so the odds are Washington football team remains the odds-on favorite at 5-1. And then comes the Washington Spartans at 8-1, right? It gets worse. The Washington Armada at 10-1. Sorry, I don't like that one. The Washington Magic or Magicians at 10-1. Oh, come on, man. Really? The Washington Red Hogs. Now tell me that's not offensive. Red Hogs?
What are these names? They're getting ready to change the team name again?
I don't know. Somebody sent me this. You know who sent me this? Ian from the Sports Angle, right? Another show that actually was an AMP TV Sports Circus production at one point. So the Sports Angle, Ian, who's the host of that show, brought this to my attention. He sent this to me. And the Washington Presidents come in at 11-1. The Washington Ambassadors come in at 12-1. The Washington Brigade comes in at 12-1. That's not so bad. The Washington DCs at 12-1.
There was a movie one time called DC Cabs, and they actually had their franchise in Washington. DC Cab.
Right.
Mr. T played in it. DC Cab.
Right, I know, right? Then you have the Washington Defenders, which is not much better than the Commanders at 12-1. The Washington Red Tails. The Washington Senators, which was a losing baseball team. Why would they ever want to bring that back? They had to go to Texas to win a World Series to erase the losing tradition there. Then you had the Washington Sentinels. That might confuse some people. The Washington Wolves. How does that work? That comes in at 12-1. There's like a 7-way tie for 12-1. The Washington Wolves. Okay, then you have the Washington Crimson at 14-1. Tyrone, do any of these ring a bell? Hold on, the Washington Owls at 14-1. Then you have at 20-1 the Washington Red Pigs. Come on. The Redskins at 25-1. The Redskins to make a comeback. And the Washington Monuments, of course, because they don't really move so well, at 33-1.
Well, I tell you what comes to my mind, really, and this is truthfully, the Red Tails. The Red Tails, the Tuskegee Airmen. They were called the Red Tails. So that's yeah. So when you said Red Tails, automatically it took my mind to the Tuskegee Airmen.
Right, at 12-1. Okay, so we're going to go to break here, and everybody, you think about this, because we're going to think about this. We'll mull it over for a few moments. Then we'll probably start eating funnel cakes and powdered donuts and all this other fun stuff. We'll be back here in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior Tyrone Poole in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the...
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors.
They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more.
800-957-6209. 800-957-6209. 800-957-6209. That's 800-957-6209.
You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the American Business Trust Company, helping companies with strategy, sales and marketing, capital resources, and establishing companies with physical locations or on the internet. For more information, contact the American Business Trust Company at info@abtrustco.com. That's info@abtrustco.com. Yes! And welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Always say it like that because we can. All right, welcome in everybody in Los Angeles and Atlanta and Auburn, Alabama and South Florida, everywhere. You can't get away from us. Everybody on TV, thanks for joining us. Also on streaming media too. Back here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior Tyrone Poole. Tyrone, you were with us for what? About a year, 9 months, 2 years, something like that on a regular. How did you tolerate it?
Yeah, it was a good run, as they would say. Kind of like some of these coaches in sports, you know. A coach would stay at a franchise for about 10 years, and that would be considered a great run. So, yeah, 2 years we were going at it. Going at it, trying to talk about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to ballpark franks and home runs and touchdowns and all kinds of good stuff.
Well, speaking of coaches, in a couple of years, I think we may have outlasted Jimbo Fisher, did we not?
You know what? We probably did, but you know what? One thing Jimbo Fisher got that we didn't get, he backed a Brinks truck up to the Texas State Bank and said, hey, you know what? Athletic director, president, fans, alumni, y'all owe me $70+ million.
That's right. You got rid of me, and you still owe me $76 million, right?
Show me the money!
That is it. They showed him the money too, and I'm like, wow, man. I'm like, come on, how do you make decisions like that? My thing is, I understand people got to get paid, but I'm like, all this money that you give away, and I'll say give away because he's not working for you no more. But you got student athletes that NIL deals are good, but come on, man, that just goes to show that $76 million could have been put towards some athlete to help them maybe start a business. I don't know, but just to give $76 million away, Sal, and you got student athletes. We call them student athletes who probably could benefit from that money more than Jimbo. Well, nothing against Jimbo, but I'm pretty sure Jimbo would probably say the same thing, even though he's not saying it right now. He probably cashed that check, Sal, and put it in his bank account.
That guy ain't cashing no checks. That is an ACH, man. That's the wire transfer. You send it right to my bank. I don't have to have no check in hand. You just make sure that wire clears, and then we're straight. Then he can send it offshore, so his money's going to be protected, if you know what I mean, right? But the reality is this. Texas A&M is a state school. It's a land grant school. So therefore, the taxpayer money is really what's at stake here. So the taxpayers, $100 million out the window to this guy. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's good. I'm not saying he's anything. All I'm saying is that's $100 million that went out to a coach. What about the university and resources? What about the town? What about that part of Texas? It's beautiful over there. I went to a football game there, whatever. I know what it's like over there. It's very nice. But the reality is that the university could have used those resources. And now what's going to happen is this guy's going to probably go find another gig within the SEC, and he's going to be coaching against a school that's still doing what?
Show me the money!
They're still paying this guy, and they'll be paying this guy to coach against him.
Yeah, again, like you said, the alumni, taxpayers. I'm like, what can they do, Sal? What do you think the taxpayers could do to stop? I don't think they could do anything about what has happened now, but in the future, if you're in Texas and you are paying those taxes and you see that there are other things that need to be done, and Texas A&M, they are getting taxpayer money. What do you do? What can you do? How would you attack this situation? What would be your strategy to stop this from happening in the future?
Okay, so I look at it this way. I say, all right, the town of College Station is not a big town. And there's infrastructure that's needed within the town of College Station, just like every other town in America. So it would occur to me that whether it's road improvements, whether it's stoplight improvements, whether it's building improvements, whether it's health and welfare improvements, whatever it is, the city doesn't have a ton of resources. I've spent a little time there. I know what it's like. And let's face it, every small town has their complaints, and it's relatively a small town. Pick your favorite small college town. So Tyrone, we'll go to LaGrange, Georgia, right? Right? We know a little bit about this town. I think you know just a little bit about this town. And so, right. And so what could LaGrange, Georgia, as a representative of small town America, it's a very nice town. What could a town like that use with $100 million, $400 million?
Everything. I think the strength of bringing up the lower class to the middle class, I think strengthens the neighborhood. So you take some of that money and you put towards low-income families to give those who are deserving of help that needed help. I'm telling you, just $500. Let's not talk about $76 million. Just $500 given to a family of a low-income family. And we talk about the city of LaGrange, but it's any city in the world or the United States that, you got families that are living below their below poverty, and $500 would do tremendous effort for their family.
I would agree. And see, this is where you have to be realistic about the expenditures of these crazy money for this coach, that player, this thing, that thing. Look, people have to live. These are the cities and towns in which they live. So you have to have resources that come back to the residents. Otherwise, what do? They move out and they bring their workforce with them. Essentially, they're exporting their workforce at that point. And now let's say there's a job that opens up at the local factory or whatever it is. There's nobody to fill that job, right? So eventually production falls off. The inventory falls off. Why? Because the labor is no longer there. People can't necessarily afford to live there. They have to go seek jobs elsewhere. So the creation of jobs through private enterprise, that could be one thing. Making the school system better, which would technically retain, it would retain those students that live in the area, to get them also to say, not only do we want to live here, but we want to raise our families here. We want to spend our money here. So we want to grow the local economy. So do you grow the local economy with $100 million, or do you give it to a coach because you think the TV revenues are going to grow the city, which technically they're not. They're going to make the university richer, but it's not going to help the residents.
No, and again, I want to just elaborate more on what you mentioned about the educational system. That is very powerful statement that you made. That could help. $100 million, $76 million could turn education in a particular underserved community into one of the top educational areas in that location. in that city, because the great teachers, they want to get paid, right? It's just like great coaches. A lot of sports fans, they're saying, well, how come we didn't get such and such coach or such and such coach? It's because they did not want to pay the owner, or the school did not want to pay for that brilliance that person brings. So, and that could be for many factors as well. Maybe there's a lot of holes in the bottom of the money bag and they just don't have the money. But if you can bring in $100 million to help and educate some young people, then I think you give society a well of an opportunity to be successful in the future. So that's a great point, Sal. Spending that money in the educational programs to help the students learn more, better books, better opportunities to go out and experience, because I feel like you are what you are because of your environment. So $100 million would give these young kids an opportunity to go on trips, and they will learn more about other cultures. And when we learn more about other cultures, then I think it bridges the gap between misunderstanding and allows us to come together and see that there's no difference between us. And I think education stands in between that bridge of bringing us together, and money is that bridge.
It really is. I mean, people say, money isn't everything. You're right. It's not everything. But what it does is it enables communities to grow and to balance. So community A and B, in our last 30 seconds of the segment here, communities A and B, what if one is lopsided? What if it's this kind of thing, right? We're looking at the scales. Right? What we need to do is we need to balance the scales. So now we have like-kind opportunities in both locations instead of just one location. Then everybody wins and everybody rises together. And that's really what we should be striving for, instead of financial inequality, racial inequality, any inequality. What we need are the tables balanced so everybody can grow at the same rate and nobody truly is left behind. And that's not an affirmative action thing. That is a life thing. People should be given the same opportunities, period. We all bleed red, so why not all gain together at the same time? Back here in a few minutes with Tyrone Poole, two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior. And you better work that thing. And the break, the 3-minute break, because we're coming back and Tyrone's going to tell you all about working that thing. Don't go anywhere. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more.
800-957-6209. 800-957-6209. 800-957-6209. That's 800-957-6209.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your blood sugar. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. Apply a discrete sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger sticks. If you are living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you might be eligible for a CGM through your insurance benefits. U.S. Med partners with over 500 private insurance companies and Medicare. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill your insurance. Call us today for a free benefits check.
800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. How do you not love that music? I'm Tom Brenneman.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. And of course, this segment is brought to you by our very dear friend. That would be two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior Tyrone Poole. And Tyrone's going to tell you just how to work that thing. Go ahead, Tyrone.
WTT, work that thing. You know, work that thing is a company. It is a LLC company, corporation, owned and operated by me and my daughter. And actually how work that thing came about, which is it has spread it so like a wildfire, Sal. And how it started, my daughter, she runs track. She's in college right now. She's a senior, going into her senior year. She runs the 400, 200 meters, has hopes of going into the Olympics, and also playing in the 2028 flag football in the Olympics. It's going to be an Olympic sports, people. Yeah, the women's flag football. But she would warm herself up, right? And I would come over to her after she's warmed up, Sal, and I would say, how are you doing? Are you ready to run? And she says, yes. And I would say, okay, let's go work it. And work it turned into work that thing. And here we are. Work that thing has supplements. It has apparel. And it is a lifelong slogan to let people know that, you know what? Whatever your thing is, if you want to be a radio commentator like Sal, if you want to be a great athlete like myself, or you want to have a company that serves the best steaks like Upper House Chops, then you got to work that thing, right? You got to work that thing. So whatever that thing is that you want, you got to work it. It's not going to just fall out the sky. But here's the thing. When you work it, you got to understand that there will be opposition. There will be challenges. There will be adversity. But if you work that thing, you will get that victory. So work that thing. Supplements, apparel, and it is a motivational statement. Go work that thing.
Okay, so now that we've heard a little bit about work that thing, what we need to do is we need to find out how we could get all that merch, all those products, all that philosophy, all that TP38. What do you got for us? Tell everybody how to find Work That Thing.
Yeah, Work That Thing, we have our website under construction. We're actually formalizing the company. We're upgrading. And, it's just like a road. The road, the bridge is in repair. But workthatthing.com, workthatthing.com, that website is never going to change. But we are affiliating ourselves with a lot of brand new sponsors and companies. So, of course, once you bring somebody new in, they come in and they say, hey, we need to upgrade this. We need to add that. So we have to allow them to put things into play so we can take Work That Thing global. So workthatthing.com will always be the site.
All right, that's good stuff. And by the way, I believe I've seen, I know I've got a Work That Thing hat, but I also have, I've been waiting for a pair of those shoes. Right? So I know that there's some Work That Thing shoes. You've got T-shirts. You got all kind of stuff. And we're waiting for the care package to be sent over to the circus. Maybe I'll start humming the theme of Jeopardy. What do you think?
Yeah, I know. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, work that thing, shoes. Again, we're beginning to take off. And I tell you what, Sal, just like with the Sports Circus, when you started the Sports Circus on your own, it's a journey, man. It's a journey. And every day you have to work hard at something new, to build a business. And I just thank God for the opportunities to be in your presence and to hear how you started the Sports Circus when people didn't believe in it, and look at you now, you're still rolling. So just like work that thing. What is work that thing? Some people thought it was a club slogan. Work that thing in the club? No, right. Work that thing is a motivational statement. So apparel, I'm just happy where it's going, and definitely we're going to get you your attire, get you some shoes, and we're just rebranding everything. So it's a lot of things that are coming. The end of the year is going to be the beginning of the year for us, rolling into 2024. So many things, Sal, that are happening, and one day we will be a true sponsor of the Sports Circus, and hopefully we'll be on the Sports Circus many more times, talking about and telling people how to work that thing.
Right. Well, Tyrone, the circus has been around for a couple thousand shows, and when
that's a lot of shows.
A couple thousand shows, man, that's a lot of shows. And in fact, I remember the very first show was December 3rd of 2016, way back in the time machine, right? And some people told me, that really stunk. And I said, okay, that's fine. Because, I was saying, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this. Enough of that. And that was brought to my attention right away. And so every time I think I'm getting a little bit big or I'm getting a little bit whatever, I always go back and I'll listen to that first episode just to remember where you came from, right? Yes. How many people forget where they came from and they think, well, I'm too good for that. You're not too good for nothing. All you got to do is stay the course. That's it. And grow and get better. Get better. Don't nitpick on yourself. Just get better, because ultimately, think about yourself on a football field, right? Let's say, remember, you were a track guy, and then you played football.
Track. Yeah. Okay.
But the transition from using your speed to using your speed essentially in geometry, right? You think of the dimensions of the field, etc., right? Plane geometry, right? Two dimensions, right?
And
so we've got all of these elements. Now you took your speed and transferred your speed to, you're a Hall of Famer on a couple of different levels. You won a couple of Super Bowls. You've been in the rodeo. You know what it's like to be a first-round draft pick. You've done all this fun stuff. That's what those big shiny trophies are. In case people you're watching, you don't know what those are. If you've been living under a rock, you don't know what those trophies are. End of day, this guy went from a track star to an NFL star. How'd you do that, Tyrone?
Well, again, like you said, Sal, a lot of adjustments. There has to be some type of understanding of what you have, who you are, and what you can do. I always like to tell people what I've learned over my time, Sal. If you can learn who you are, what you have, and what you can do, that is your manual. That's the manual. So if you can learn the manual, then you give yourself an opportunity to learn a lot about what you can do. So most people are not successful because they don't know who they are, what they have, what they can do. They don't read their own manual. So once you read the manual, then you understand, I can do this. I just have to adjust, learn more, get knowledge, get wisdom. So basically that's how I did it, Sal. I learned who I was, and then I went out and got some wisdom, some knowledge, understanding from some other great people, watched some other great people do their thing, and employed it into my game.
Right. I mean, great leaders come from great role models, right?
Yeah.
And adversity. Let's face it, because the people, and with all due respect for all those people that have a whole bunch of money, they were born into money, whatever, their parents had loads of money. You and I didn't. We come from Normalsville, right? So we didn't have the platinum spoon in our mouth. I mean, I had a wooden spoon in my mouth, right? And I had to learn not to get those splinters from that wooden spoon, figuratively speaking, of course. My parents were very hardworking, right? There's 8 kids in my house growing up. And so we had to fight for everything. But great leadership breeds great leaders. Now, if you don't happen to have it at home, whatever, there are people in the community. And this goes back to our argument in the previous segment about putting money back into the community, $100 million, for example. What could be done with that? What kind of leadership can be brought in? And the leadership doesn't necessarily have to be this figure, that figure. It could be leadership within your local community. Look, in fact, our local civic leaders have done the right thing by increasing our educational value, increasing the infrastructure around us so it drives our local economy, and that's where people want to grow and bring their skills back to because they have a pride of ownership in their community. Right? And that's what this is all about. Tyrone, take 30 seconds. We're going to go to break and pick up on that. And in fact, take us out to break.
I'll say this, two things. When it comes to money in anybody's neighborhood, there is no shortage of money. There's a shortage of distribution. There's no shortage of money. There's a shortage of distribution. And when it comes to leadership, sometimes leadership don't have to be brought in. Leadership is already there because leadership is earned in tough times and hard situations. And sometimes great leaders are overlooked, and they're right there. Those are the ones that have gone through hard times, and they're still there producing.
I think you're right. And in every account, there's never a shortage of money. You know why? If the government needs money, what do? They print more money. Right? Yeah. That's what happens. This is reality, folks. And if you don't believe me, just go to your favorite search engine. I'm not even going to say the one that everyone says. You know why? Why should I give them money? Because every time I say that, they're not paying me. They're not paying you, Tyrone. All they're doing is saying, keep saying our name, kind of like Kleenex. We'll go get a Kleenex. And not every bathroom tissue or every nose tissue is a Kleenex. No, they're just the original, like make me a Xerox copy. Anyway, we could do this one for the next 3 hours. We're going to be back here in a few minutes with Tyrone Poole, 2-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, and myself, your Ringmaster Sal, in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark, friends. Hi, pop fly. That would be a home run in a phone booth. I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize. There's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has a Barbary over to first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Carey many years ago.
You got that right. And boy, when a box of Cracker Jack to me meant a lot of money. Here's a pitch, bounce foul. That's the most asinine marketing I've ever heard of. 1 ball, 1 strike. These guys say, well, you sing about Cracker Jack. I said that I only sing it because it's in the song. Here's a pitch, foul back. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, even to this day, some youngsters who buy a box of Cracker Jack don't find a prize in the box. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Well, if you're going to talk about a congressman being crooked, here's a pitch, foul out of play. Why not talk about commercial products who don't do what they represent to do?
There's a smash to Squires. He's got it. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. We're going to the bottom of the 7th now to score. All tied up. Milwaukee 4, the White Sox 4. Hey! Everybody! All right, Nancy, let me hear you. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and
Jack McDowell here, Black Jack McDowell, and you're watching the Sports Circus, which is totally cool. So you have a great time watching. Have some fun.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Folks, make sure you check out the sportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are podcasts. They can be found on all podcast platforms. Also, make sure you check out some of the partners that have been with us for a very long time. And of course, one of those is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check us out and check them out at csncoyotes.com. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Yes! All right. Got to give them the extended super applause. They've been with us since the very beginning, so of course they always get that super applause rather than the kung fu applause, which is the one where we're waiting. Oh, that's right. And then there's an applause. We don't want to do that. All right. Back here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior Tyrone Poole. Hey, you know, Tyrone, we think about these most valuable players in our favorite sport, right? And in this sport and that sport, we have one most valuable player. But in baseball, you know, we have for the American League and the National League, right? Because they are two separate leagues that didn't even play against one another for the longest time, right? Think about that. But do you really believe, I really believe this, that we should have just one MVP for all of baseball instead of one in this league and one in that league?
Whoa, you know, that is a tough one because you can't play everybody. You got two leagues, even though they do have their, you know, kind of like intramural type of interaction where the American League plays the National League, but still you're not playing enough games and against each other. And I think when you have two leagues, then you got to have two MVPs. It's like, should we have one governor for all of the states in the United States? No. I think you got to, because everyone operates differently. So the AL, they operate differently from the NL. The DH, no DH. So I think if you get everybody up under one rule, up under one house, then maybe, yes, you can have one person, like one president, right, of the country, which sometimes the president is not the president. It's just my opinion. But sometimes, you know, when you have different entities, you got to have different rules. And so, yes, I do agree with the platform right now. Have an AL MVP and then have an NL MVP.
Okay. All right. So let's take that to football. We have the AFC and the NFC. And they play limited game against the other conference or against the other league, so to say, right? You have the National League Conference, the American Conference, right? But we still have one MVP. We don't have one for the American, one for the National. So why wouldn't we have the same thing in Major League Baseball?
Well, I think in that instance with football, I see where you're going with it. But I think in football, you're able to get a true, more understanding of talent. You know, there's always going to be a quarterback. There's always going to be wide receiver. You don't have to worry about, again, like I said, just certain rules in certain sports. Baseball, again, I just stick the feather in my hat with a DH. You know, it's just certain rules. Even though they still play their 9 innings, but they're just certain things that I think in baseball compared to football that you can have one MVP for the whole league. Now
the universal, hold on, the universal designated hitter.
I do think that you can have. Let me take a. I think you can have your cake and eat it too. You can actually have an MVP for the American League, and this is how I would do it. An MVP for the American League, an MVP for the National League, but an overall MVP. There you go right there. That's how you solve it.
That's what I'm looking for because, I mean, look, in the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., I mean, arguably the best player in baseball, period. And I don't really think there's a whole lot of discussion. People say, well, Shohei Ohtani pitches and he hits. Look, he's a good pitcher and he's an above-average hitter. So he is not a position player such as Ronald Acuna Jr. is an outfielder. He plays every game. He's a leadoff hitter for the Atlanta Braves. And he is probably, in my opinion, the best player in baseball. And I think, and a lot of other people too. This guy would be the overall most valuable player because he truly is. The guy is a five-tool player. The guy hits for power. He hits for speed. He runs. He's got a great arm. And guess what? This guy can steal you bags. And he basically does everything. Right? This is what Barry Bonds used to be before he allegedly started juicing, right? Barry Bonds was a great player before the whole controversy. When he came up with the Pittsburgh Pirates, I mean, this guy was legit way better than his dad, Bobby Bonds, Bobby Bonds was very good, but Barry was a whole different kind of good, right? And so you think of Acuna Jr., this guy is legit, and he is the best player day to day in all five tools of the five-tool player. He is truly the best player in baseball. So I would think that he would win an MVP just on his own against the entire field. And it's not because, well, Ohtani played 135 games. He got injured. I don't care about that crap. The reality is Acuna plays every day. Shohei Ohtani is a designated hitter when he's not pitching. So he's not on the field. He's only playing half the game, technically.
Yeah, and you know, Sal, I think even to bring the fans into it, because the fans going to be like, well, hey, hold on. You know, we should be voting. Now, I think when you're voting for the overall MVP of the league, that should be players only. That should be players and coaches only voting in that. No sports reporters and things. It should be just players and coaches. The sports reporters, the fans, and the players can vote for the MVP of the AL and the MVP of the NL, National League, American League, respectively. But I think when it comes to the overall, I think that should be voted on by the players only and the coaches. That's it.
I like that. I like that because look at it this way. Think about it in football, right? You got the Pro Bowl and then you got the All-Pro. The All-Pro is the one that matters. The Pro Bowl is the cat show.
Yes.
The All-Pro is the one that really matters because now you're recognized by your peers.
Yes, and I agree 100% with that, Sally, that you hit a home run with that one there. The NFL, a lot of guys, they want to go to the Pro Bowl, and the Pro Bowl is kind of like a vacation, right? But at the end of the day, when you are an All-Pro, that means that your peers have voted on you. Yeah, they do have the media, they vote as well, coaches, but I would rather have the All-Pro rather than the actual Pro Bowl. Like I've heard a lot of guys say that they would rather have hear what I'm about to say. They would rather have a Super Bowl ring. They would trade if they could get a Super Bowl ring or a Hall of Fame ring. A lot of guys would say, I want that Super Bowl ring. And again, you know, the Super Bowl ring just means so much more because the Hall of Fame people can vote for you, right? They can vote for you. But the Super Bowl, that's won with a team. That's a team effort there, right? It's nothing but you and your players, your teammates out there. And there's a lot of Hall of Famers in the Hall of Fame that do not have that ring. And the person that I heard say that, how do I know what I'm saying is true? Not because I got to, but Dan Marino. I believe I remember hearing Dan Marino, the question was asked, you know, because his rookie year, Dan went to the Super Bowl. And
yeah, but he ran into the 49ers. Oops. Later. He ran into Joe Montana.
Back again.
Yeah.
But he's a Hall of Famer. But it's just something about that Super Bowl ring. So, yes, the All-Pro, I'd rather be All-Pro than to be Pro Bowl because it means so much more. But again, nothing wrong with getting a Hall of Fame ring and a Super Bowl ring. So that's your cake and eating it too. That's working that thing right there for real.
Hey, I like cake. I like cake. Cake is a good thing. Yeah, you know, doctor says, "Oh, you're not supposed to have cake," but you know what? I like cake. And if
cake on top of that,
if I can't eat cake, what am I doing? I want to be able to have a treat once in a while. I mean, I ride my bicycle like, you know, other people do their things. I deserve a treat every now and then. My problem is I have sweet teeth. You know, somebody has a sweet tooth. I have sweet teeth. And so that means I like it a little bit more than most people.
I think everybody has that sweet tooth, Sal. Every once in a while, I have taste for some chocolate, and let me say this about chocolate. You know, a lot of people have their favorite candy bars, right? And when I was little, I used to eat like all kinds of candy bars. I used to go to the store and buy like 4, 5 candy bars, and I would put them in the freezer. And I would let it get hard. The reason why I put it in the freezer so I could eat the chocolate. I could bite the chocolate from around it. And my favorite candy bar, even to this day, Twix. You know, I would put that Twix candy bar in the freezer, come back and bite the chocolate and the caramel together, then leave nothing but the cookie, man, and then I eat the cookies.
Oh yeah. I'm very familiar with that one. I'm very, very familiar with that one. And look at it this way. When we think of our favorite candy here in the last couple of minutes, I mean, look, we could completely digress. I go to the candy convention, as you're aware of, on an annual basis, right? And it's the Super Bowl of sweets. They call it the Sweets and Snacks Expo. It is the most unbelievable thing you'd ever seen. If you love sweets, this is your Graceland. There's nothing like it. Next year, it's going to be held in Indianapolis. It's usually in Chicago, but the mayor of Chicago, in their infinite wisdom, because of the raising the taxes and wrecking the city, has basically driven some of the most important things out of the city. Even the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are headed out to Schaumburg, or to Arlington Heights, to the northwest part of the city. The reality is this: sometimes mayors and government officials make bad decisions. But when you go to this candy convention, you say, this is one of the worst health decisions I've ever made. But boy, does it taste good. Yeah. All right, Tyrone, listen, you got 30 seconds. Plug, work that thing. How can everybody follow it? How can everybody follow you, etc.? Take 30 seconds and get us out of here.
Well, everybody, work that thing again. Work that thing is a company. Work that thing simply means that whatever you want to be, whatever your thing is, you have to work it. You have to overcome adversity. You have to overcome obstacles. Go to workthatthing.com. Get yourself some apparel, some supplements, and you can always catch me on all social media, Tyrone Poole 38. And go to my website, TyronePoole38.com. You give my first name, last name, and my football number, you got me.
That's right. And you know what? Tyrone even signs stuff, too. Maybe you could send him something, and maybe he'll do you a favor. Maybe he'll sign something for you. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But no, he will. Tyrone's a good guy. And just make sure you follow Tyrone and follow the Sports Circus. Make sure you like, share, and follow and subscribe on all platforms. And we'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. So until then, so long, everyone.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.